casting itself is such a delicate job, right? So when you're dealing with people, there is something called nurturing, and that's what I do here. Only because you're a director's wife, I'm even talking to you like this. He mentioned that people are not going to give you the love and respect that you want. They want to give you what they want to give. We get a requirement sometimes that's very, very basic, like woman 20 to 25. What do I do with woman 20 to 25? So you should know to ask questions. I think it is important to watch movies, watch a lot of content. For me, it's not about passion towards cinema. It's actually for the people. I don't really have great passion for cinema. I know what I'm saying now is going to be like, what? All these years she's been in the industry, she's saying this.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of Navigating Life with HumanCompass Season 2. Last episode, we heard from Leena Asher in her own words how she is transforming education sector. In this episode, we take a peek into the exciting world of glitz, glamour, camera, and action. Yes, into the world of films and casting. My name is Aarti Desai. I'm a film as well as a theatre actor and a voiceover artist as well. And on my show today, I have the honor to welcome one of the leading names in film casting space, Ms. Sharanya Subramaniam, founder and casting director of Sharanya Sports Talent, or we call it with love, SST. Sharanya Subramaniam is a casting director based at Chennai, India. She has been in the field of media for over a decade in an industry where the role of a casting director is yet to find its space, with Academy recognizing it just recently. Sharanya identified the need of a person such as herself to fill the void, providing a safe environment where the talent can be nurtured and placed in the best possible projects, adding great value to the filmmakers. She has broken many ceilings and is an inspiration for many women to pursue a career in this space, that is casting. She is indeed a true human compass, guiding and inspiring many. It is an honor to invite her to this podcast of Navigating Life with HumanCompass. Hi, Sharanya.
Hello. Thank you so much for that warm welcome. Very sweet of you. Thank you for inviting me to Mr. Chetan as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and being here with us. So we'll just move forward without wasting more time as to how did your journey as a casting director start or begin?
I actually said this a lot because I also, do a lot of these live sessions. You know that, right? You've been part of some of the sessions. So a lot of interviews. I think I've said the whole story so many times that I'm going to see if I can give, a different way to like say the same story. Like I always start the whole thing. It happened to me. I didn't really opt to become a casting director, or I didn't really aim to become one. To be honest, I never had a goal in life. Even now, I don't think Sharanya particularly has any goal in life. But eventually, Sharanya Sports Talent became, an important place for actors, that I felt that there was a need for me to start having certain ideas and goals that would achieve that, where I can achieve and, transform lives and all of that. So when this opportunity came in, I didn't really think twice, mainly because I have the habit of always saying okay or yes to everything. I can't say no to anything, right? So, and I am a people's person. I love being around people. And I've always been that person since I was a child, where I'll always look at some talent, and even if it's very small, I'll always make it seem very big for them. It's not even for me. Like, if someone can sing like very, very normally also, I'm like, oh my God, you're such a good singer. I think you should be part of this competition. I think you should do this. So I like putting people on stage, like in a place, right? So even I have my own talents, but somehow I find too much happiness in somebody else's talents, and, and seeing them achieve, seeing them, explore their craft is something somehow I find excitement in and happiness in, to be honest. So I guess it just worked very well for me that way when the opportunity came, thanks to my most favorite production house, Kadai Films.
Yes,
I've not even known them personally at that time, and they've been following me. And when I got the call to do this, I was like, if you're confident, I'm okay. It's more like I've never done this before. If you think I can do it, I'm game. And they said, no, let's give it a shot because we've worked with a couple of people before. They're all in Bombay or in Bangalore. And we also want to see, if someone can start something here in Chennai. And after that project, they didn't like think twice. They were like, you must start a company. You can't sit like a freelancer. I said, wait, relax. I've only done one project. I need some time to see if I can really take it up because it is a huge responsibility, right? You as an actor know that
yes, and
it's not easy,
it's not.
especially being in my place because I have hundreds of so many people looking for that opportunity, and they'll kind of also start thinking that, oh, there is this person, so she's going to give me work. So there is a huge responsibility for me to keep creating something new to satisfy everybody. But eventually, it's been 8 years since I've been into casting. It's been 14 years of me being in this industry. So in this process, I've realized that I can't satisfy everybody, but I can
Absolutely.
surely create something that will motivate them, make them feel, like life is okay even if we don't achieve what exactly we're looking for, but it's all in the process, it's all in the journey. So I'm doing whatever it takes through activities, workshops, through my live sessions, through my meetings with actors, through these little posts that I post on Instagram. Everything surrounds by that one point which says hope. That's really what I'm trying to do here.
It is very important for every actor. Like I went yesterday to Ahmedabad to audition, and the director was like, "You came here all the way to audition." I said, "Yes, because it is an opportunity.
Yeah.
If I crack it very well, if I don't crack it for that film, at least he will remember me. Maybe for the next, maybe for the one after. Like I had been talking to him 4 5 years now, but I was like, this is the time now. So maybe that was not the time, but hope I think is a very important aspect every
Yeah.
actor needs to have. Like sometimes even I'm hopeless, but yeah.
Yeah.
That is true.
No, but again, you need to do
Yeah.
some sort of research. Like I've been following you, I think, ever since you started, if I'm not wrong, or maybe
Yeah.
before you've been doing some work before. But I know that I've known you since you kind of began with little
Yes.
things, and
True.
and I have also seen that growth where you started, traveling, like you beautifully mentioned. You've been traveling to so many cities and part of so many plays and films or web series. You're exploring different kinds of groups and networking with a lot of people to understand how everything works, right? So all of that is an experience, and that's what also helps you in another audition or another
Yeah, true, true,
project or
true.
wherever. So I think this process has helped you to also gain that confidence
Yes.
in knowing that you can do whatever is given to you. You're not like scared, you're not feeling intimidated by this whole process. Oh, I'm going to have the bath. It's more a beautiful feeling on
No,
the inside. Nervousness will be
yeah,
very
yeah.
beautiful.
I had a wonderful experience. I mean, so I sat, I spoke to the director, and he was like, "Yes, yes, I remember." And he was really overwhelmed that I came all the way. It was a good interaction. So I think as an actor,
Yeah,
it's like one more feather to save and to ponder on when you're feeling little low, little down.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, in continuation of what we were speaking, like any other profession, casting too is quite male dominated
Yeah.
industry. So, as a female casting director, what are some of the challenges that you have faced or you feel that women do face?
Honestly speaking, I don't believe in this whole concept of, men, women. I mean, in this industry, at least for me personally, I've never really faced any huge problems per se. Challenges wise, I think sometimes I've come across people in this industry, like managers and all of that, who kind of disrespect you a little bit
Yes,
because
yes.
you're a woman. My husband's a director, writer, director. So I remember one of the projects. I didn't work on it later, but then he kind of mentioned about only because you're a director's wife, I'm even talking to you like this. He mentioned that, which was a little like I was taken aback by it because until then I was just casting at a Sharanya and I entered the project only as that and not as this person's wife, right? So why did that whole thing come up in the conversation, especially when talking monies and all of that? It was so funny for me. I didn't find it like hurting or whatever. It was just funny because the way they were thinking was kind of like, okay. So I realized that I can't really do much because a lot of people like this are going to exist, in life. And
Yes.
we just do our thing, and we don't do it for anybody else. And I personally do it for, the happiness that I get through this, right? So I'm working on a web series, and the co-director was like telling me how amazingly this whole casting has come up. And he said it's the passion we have for cinema that has brought us together, all of that. I said, you know what, I want to break something for you. For me, it's not about passion towards cinema. It's actually for the people. I don't really have great passion for cinema. I know what I'm saying now is going to be like, what? All these years she's been in the industry, she's saying this. Doesn't mean I hate it or anything. I truly love this whole industry and all of that. But for me, it's the people that's more of a priority. For me, it's that. So I do my thing, and I feel like I'm doing it consistently, and people are not going to give you the love and respect that you want. They want to give you what they want to give. So let's not keep like any expectations and just keep going is what I realized in this process. But like I said, there should be more people like women coming into this, because especially casting itself is such a delicate job, right? So when you're dealing with people, there is something called nurturing, and that's what I do here. And my team also, they either come with such a what do I say, nature, like that nurturing nature is already there, like in the people in my team. If they don't, I'll develop it. I'll make sure that I give them all the love that they know what it is to love everybody else. So I think more women should be in this field, because there is that nurturing thing that happens naturally because women have it in them. So yeah, I'm not going to give you these controversial answers
No, no,
to this,
no.
unfortunately,
No, no,
because I didn't really go through any problems. I'm very honest. Like, I don't think I had any issue per se, thanks to all the wonderful teams that I've worked with. Either God has just been kind to, bring all these people to me, because I've not really gone and networked or marketed and said, hey, this is what I do. Can we connect? Can we collaborate? I've never done that till now, right? So I do that only with actors. I only approach actors and tell them, hey, this is what we do, and share your profile on a database. But when it comes to clients, I've never done that. Whoever I've worked with are all people who approached us directly. So I feel like God knows that, okay, this is who Sharanya is, and this is her approach, and let's bring such people to her. So I've never had really a major problem. In case there has been some sort of issues internally for my actors, again, my team and I are always around on
no, that
set.
I agree. Whenever I have worked with you, you've always been on set. You've
Yeah,
ensured that, everything is working smooth, not only for the ones who are shooting, but
yeah.
definitely for the actors.
I
So that
also
is,
feel like it's not like production wants to, not take care or anything. They
yeah,
just have so much to
it's
do that
never ending.
this is a department that they've given me responsibility for, right? So I feel like, and I come from a production background. I've done 7.5 years of production, that blood is just not getting out of my system, right? I've been doing it for so long that I have to be there. I have to take care of my people. So until you get your payment and until maybe the film comes
Yeah.
out, I feel like I have to be in touch with my actors and make sure they're okay. So that's a process that we've set, and I think it's important. Yeah.
Rolling over to the next one, what would be your advice to young men and women who aspire to make a career into casting? Like, what are the skills, what are the technical and soft skills that they need to develop if they want to be in this field?
Sure. So I'm a self-taught casting director, if I can, say that. I've not really learned this like by assisting somebody or working somewhere. But of course, I've been in the field that at the end of the day, an assistant director also ends up being a casting director, ends up being a stylist, ends up being since I come from that background, I think I've done so much of everything that even if it's not a full-time profession, we know how it is to approach and what it is as a process. But I realized the first thing is you need to really love people. I don't know if it's the right way to say it, but when I mean love, it's you need to really be happy for somebody else's success. You need to genuinely feel that, because doing a good job as a casting director and bringing magic on the table, I think there is a difference, and that comes only when you're not just passionate, but one is duty, the other is truly wanting the best for that project in all means, right? So being a people's person really helps. It's not just socializing to get contacts, but naturally, like, I was just discussing with you before we started that I had attended a wedding recently, and I actually saw some really interesting faces at the wedding, and I just naturally go and talk to them, and they don't feel intimidated by me randomly coming to them and being like, hey, this is Sharanya, and I'm a casting director, you have a really nice face, are you an actor? And I actually saw somebody who was an actor yesterday, and he performed something in front of me. He showed me his profile, and apparently he's an aspiring actor in the US, so he was really good. So I feel like you should be on the lookout for people, not only if they are actors, because there are so many people who are not into it, who may not even know they have it in them. But you should always have an eye for faces around you, and that kind of becomes it gets part of your system. For me, I breathe and sleep characters now. Like if I see anybody, for me it's a character. It's never
Yeah.
my mother or my aunt anymore. It's like, oh, you are this, you are that, you are that. I keep putting a character for them. So that is one. Two is, I think, being able to understand the scripts, visualize scripts is very, very important. It's not just about getting a requirement. Say we get a requirement sometimes that's very, very basic, like woman 20 to 25. What do I do with woman 20 to 25? So you should
It's
know to
tough.
ask questions. They're not going to send it to you. Sometimes even like the biggest of people that you work with, they may not even know what to send to you, right? So they would just send male 20 to 25, female 20 to 25, kid 5 to 10. What do we do with that? So you need to ask questions. You need to know what to ask also. So what are they doing? What is their backstory? What are the activities they're doing in the film? If possible, share the script of their portion. Give me an idea of the story. Even if they're not there throughout, I'd like to know what they're doing to be able to find the right person for it. Not just performer wise, but even personality wise, because I believe more in personality and than just the profile, because a profile anybody can create, right? But only when you meet them and get to know them more, I feel like I can kind of gel, like marriage, like you have to do that marriage of personality and profile together and then place them for a role. So that's very, very important. You need to have an eye not just for spotting talent, but to know who is the right person for this role. And there'll always be at least 5 people also for the same role. Sometimes you're like, oh, Aarti is also great, Sumati is also great, Preeti is also great, so what do? Right? So that's when only when you get the details is when you can link them up and be like, no, actually Aarti is perfect. The rest of them could also work. So you already know this is perfect. Now you're just going to pray that Aarti does a great audition
Audition,
and
yes.
she gets through. If she doesn't,
Then
and
we
we know
have,
that
yeah.
she has potential. No. And then we know that Aarti has potential. I personally will work with Aarti because I know she's perfect and I don't want to lose out on Aarti. So I'll work with Aarti. I'm not the person who'll be like, oh, there's only 5 minutes, do something and leave. Oh, you didn't do well? Okay, leave. I have Sumati anyway. No. For me, Aarti is perfect, means I want to work with her and make sure I get the best out of Aarti. But again, I'll see how much time Aarti is taking, because if it's too much, then that's also kind of a note that I need to write. Like I have to tell my director, hey, she takes time to understand these things. She takes time to apply these things. So these are notes that I would give to the direction team to kind of make note
Yeah.
of. It's a very holistic approach. You can't just look at it as I have 1,000 profiles and so I'm ready to do projects.
Yeah.
So, and
That
it's an
is
everyday process. You can't wait for a project to work on a project. There's a lot more work that you do when there's no project. So right now, if I'm not working on anything, is when I'm highly busy, because that's when I'm meeting lots of people and putting them in the database, and not just having it as a profile, but actually looking at it and putting it in my memory also somewhere, so that in the future, when something comes, it just rings a bell for me. Hey, I've seen someone, in this kind of a visual that I'm visualizing while the director is narrating, stuff like that. In Thug Life, I want to just tell you this. I was reading the script,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the characters, immediately while I was reading the script, I always carry a notebook. This is also another tip. So I'm always having a notebook with me. Always, I always carry it wherever I go. And when I look at a person or when I think of an idea, I write it down. And when I'm reading a script, I'm always writing characters or people that come to my mind while reading the script, because you won't remember it, later. So because such a big bound that you need to go through, right? So I write it down, and I wrote one actor, and I went to the team while I left. I was not even officially in it. I didn't even sign or anything. I was just reading the script at that point. So I went to the AD and I said, you know what? I know I'm not in it yet, but I have like a suggestion for this role. And I suggested one actor's name, and they said she's the exact same person we've spoken to for the role. And I was so excited. They were also very excited that before I came in, they were like, oh my God, this is such perfect sync. Right. So, yeah, and I don't watch too many movies, but I think it is important to watch movies, watch a lot of content online, whether it's YouTube or web series or films. Doesn't matter if it's a good film or a bad film, because sometimes films that don't work may have the best of talent also in it. And it's not just about
Yeah.
as a performer, but even as a face. For me, sometimes the faces are very, very important, because some of the faces, even if they're not great performers, we can kind of work on them. But then that face might be super memorable, a face that you can't forget at all. I have this whole category called interesting faces. Like I have so many profiles like that. Like Mara, no? Like the whole film
Yes.
was full of that. So even in Thug Life, we've brought a lot of that. I've done a project for Netflix as well. That's not out yet. It's still work in progress, but the casting has come out really well, and it's because of the faces that we've brought. So like I said, look out for people. Don't just look at people as people. Look at them as characters. Eventually, you will end up doing that.
This
Yeah.
is very, very important even for actors, like not only casting.
Yes.
Like it's like I had done one workshop with another one very great actor from Bombay, and he was like, observe, you just observe people. Like one fine day, I was just at a signal, and there was this lady who was selling flowers, and I was just seeing like how is she eating. She had a very, very different style of eating. She was just taking the food, and like how we eat like this, she was just taking
Yeah.
and eating.
Yeah.
And I will
Yeah.
never forget, like every time I'm at
Yeah.
that Adyar signal, I look out for her.
Nonsense.
What is she doing? So I think it is very, very important to observe. So I think even for actors, so that we can inculcate that in maybe any one role that we are playing. So if
Yeah.
I have to play for that one particular character, now I will remember. If
And
even if
it's not just a flower seller.
yeah,
It's just that
she's a
kind of people itself,
yeah.
what to, apply. Like, and those are the nuances that you kind of
Yes.
bring to the performance, right? And I also feel like we always tell actors to be a great listener. Like you have to listen, and all of that. I think that's very important for a casting team, a casting
No,
director as well.
yeah, like the five senses that we are told about in school
Yeah.
are really, I have understood, are the five senses that every actor needs to work on.
Yeah.
Because even a small sense of touch can actually evoke that emotion in you,
Yeah.
which then you can use for your acting for that particular role.
Absolutely. Because there are so many actors who come with so many things, right?
Yes.
So they say a lot of things and you can't remember everything. But if you're keenly listening, genuinely listening to what they're saying, you'll end up creating something that will kind of give them what they're looking for. So
Yes.
I'm saying this all with my own experience, from my experience, right? So that has helped a lot of the actors. They come and said, ma'am, you didn't directly do this, but then I received it any which ways, kind of a thing. So listening is a very important capability. Whatever I told right now are all for people who want to get into the whole casting thing. For actors, I have another set that I will tell you later in the conversation when it comes up.
So this conversation is just not having an end. It's getting more and more and more exciting. We are not going to let time come in between me and Sharanya. So you're going to watch this podcast not in one part, but in two. Wait for it.
My suggestion for any actor, take that 6 months, 1 year, whatever, to not go and act, but to learn the craft. Focus, have a timetable every single day. The next 1 year, I'm going to put so much effort into this and I'm going to breathe, eat, whatever this. You will start feeling exhausted, negative, and hopeless sometimes. Getting the part is not in our control. But what we can control is our daily routine. It's always important to keep ourselves physically and mentally busy.